Evil.
Seems like you're all on the same page.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think we pretty much were all the way around.
That brings us on to stuff that we've already read, it's been out for a while, and we think you should check it out. So I guess I'll start. I recommend Unwritten. In like one sentence, I describe Unwritten as Harry Potter for adults, which is very limited in its description, but that's basically just a description of the main character.
Yeah.
The main character is Tommy, and his father wrote a series of books equivalent to Harry Potter. Like, there's obvious allusions there. But everybody in the world believes that this main character is actually the magician mentioned in the books, while he's just like, these guys are crazy, my dad just wrote it and named it after me. But as the story goes on, it throws more and more magic into the world to the point where he doesn't really know what's real anymore. And it goes deeper into him discovering who he is, where he got these weird powers, and why all this ridiculous stuff keeps happening to him.
Yeah, I really, really like it. It's about books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as book
The power
nerds
of stories.
approve.
Exactly. And so I guess what my Carrie said is that, well, a lot of people, I guess you would compare the inside world, like the book within the book is kind of like Harry Potter.
Right.
But he
Not the
based the
book.
character on Christopher Robin, who is the character from Winnie the Pooh. His father wrote about him and how people thought of
he was the
him as
same
Christopher
guy.
Robin
Right.
in the book, where he's actually, just a guy whose dad happened to write a really famous series.
But the fun part of what Mike Carey has done here is he's pulled in all of these references. Like almost every character in it is a reference.
Oh, yeah.
And all the settings they go to are references. So if you wanted, you could probably go back. You could research each character that appears and see all of the ties they make to past literary novels.
He stumped me before. I mean, I consider myself pretty well read. I was an English major. I figured, okay, well, this is perfect for me. And there have been moments reading this comic that I have to go Google things because I'm like, wait a minute, what is he talking about? I have never read that book.
Yeah.
And it actually made me go read a few books too. So
Is it still in the same artist?
Peter Gross, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been
one of the most consistent comics
That's the great
as
thing
far
about
as
it.
writer-artist. Yeah, you should read Unwritten if you like books.
Also, if you don't.
Yes, because it makes
If you
it more
like
fun.
comics, you could like Unwritten.
Yeah.
If you like life.
Okay. If you like air. Anyway.
My should have read is Scalped by Jason Aaron and R.M. Guerra. It's a story for anyone who likes HBO style dramas, multi-season long kind of things. It's the only real TV equivalent I've ever found in a comic book that is just unbelievable. It's a story about a kind of a rogue criminal Native American who gets in a lot of trouble and ends up getting contracted by the FBI to become an informant to kind of watch the Badlands Indian country of the reservation. And so what ends up happening is he's an informant and has to, it's your typical HBO kind of the wire double crossing.
Kind of like The Sopranos.
Yeah, sex, drugs, and murder.
Exactly. And it's just a great story, and I highly recommend it.
Oh yeah.
I need to try to read it again. I read the first volume once and just was like,
I love my
takes about
gritty
2 to 3
crime
to get
drama.
going, and then once it gets going, it establishes all the threads, and it's amazing.
Cool.
awesome. Well, speaking of crime dramas, I read a crime drama with Batman.
Or a lack of Batman.
Well, yeah. So my should have read book is Gotham Central by Ed Brubaker and Greg Rucka, and the main artist was Michael Lark. And so it is basically a crime procedural. It's in Gotham. It's technically a Batman book, but Batman's almost never there.
Thank God.
And it's basically the people, the police officers who have to deal with these crimes in Batman City when Batman's too late, or the aftermath of Batman-related things. and their lives, and it's awesome.
So Batman and the Joker blow up a city block downtown, and then it's the story of all the people who have to clean up.
Yeah.
Or while Batman and the Joker are fighting across town, there's whole other amounts of crime going on
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
other side of Gotham. And guess who gets to deal with it? The actual police.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's what happens
really
when you
awesome.
have so many supervillains.
This reading Gotham Central is better than watching any like detective show I have ever, like regular cop show I've
Still
ever
though,
seen.
how
on
awesome
TV.
would this be as a television show?
Oh, it would be brilliant. It'd be absolutely
Every
brilliant.
now and then you get Batman.
Well, it's just really
Just a
clever.
shadow.
It's just really clever the way that they kind of work it in that, oh, there's Mr. Freeze, or Poison Ivy, and Batman just shows up, and they all don't even directly talk about the signal, the bat signal
No.
on the roof or anything,
Or-
and they can't turn it on.
They have to have a temp.
Yeah,
turn
they
it
have
on.
a temp on staff because she's the one that has to go upstairs and turn on the bat signal so that they can disavow any, just be like, whoop, 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 keeps their hands clean.
One thing I like about it is that it kind of extends the DC universe and creates because the average human being in a DC comic book is kind of like a spectator to the side. If they're not in
Yeah.
the storyline, they're just this guy on the sidewalk who's looking
Going,
in the air and screaming or getting blown up.
They made actual real life non-superpowered characters
Yeah.
who aren't superheroes.
It's at least, I think it might be 36 or 40 issues, and Brubaker and Rocker would switch off stories most of the time, and there were some really good freaking stories for most
Yeah,
of them.
all the Michael Lark stuff was great.
Yeah, everything. Unfortunately, towards the end,
Yeah.
Brubaker left, and then Michael Lark also left, and so the art suffered a little bit in the last volume. The whole book itself, the whole storyline was just so awesome, but also just like a kind of liberating feeling, and like more about the Bat universe, and you know more about Gotham, and like everyone says that Gotham is its own character, like in the Bat books, but like this actually gives you more about Gotham's people as people and not as spectators, or victims. Which I feel like they're showing it more and more in comics now, but I feel like in that period there wasn't really a personality for people who weren't superheroes. To me.
Good to have.
Yeah, so me.
Do you recommend anything?
Yeah, you guys all had to go DC, Vertigo. You're all gritty and serious, and I'm gonna go with a complete and total opposite, and
As usual.
go with Wonton Soup, which, if you could just imagine, Iron Chef in space with space truckers. Anyway, so Wonton Soup, there are 2 volumes of this out there. It's very manga-esque. It's written and drawn by the wonderful, amazing James Stokoe, who we've talked about before. It's about a former chef turned space trucker named Johnny Boyo and his travails and tribulations through cooking and trucking in space. Honestly, it's not very deep. It is beautiful to look at. It's a shame that it's earlier in James Stokoe's career when it was black and white. So you don't get that beautiful color and all that crazy neon and detail and everything that you get in, say, Orkstein. But it's still just awesome to look at, and you can tell a lot of his influences in the manga world and also in the European comic world, Mobius and whatnot. You see a lot of that, but in a very joking sense. He really did not take himself too seriously when he was doing this comic, which thank God, because
Comics for fun.
Comics are supposed to be fun. Yeah, that's about all there is to say about that. Definitely one of those things worth tracking down.
Do you own it?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so we can
Can you
just
let
borrow it from him.
Can you let the viewers borrow it too?
No, you guys can't borrow my copy. I'm sorry.
So for now, we'll wrap up this evening. We'll be back again soon to talk about more comics.
That was a really creepy soon.
Very soon.
Mwah.
I will be invincible.
Well, thank you guys for joining me tonight. Thank you behind the camera. Thank you watching at home. This has been an episode of the Dr. Apocalypse and Baron von Evilstein show. Thank you.